Hello.
This call is now being recorded.
Hello.
Sir, asilo. Rokidon.
Hello. Hello.
Hello, Orchana Patra, Nasid Afrin.
Yes, sir.
Hello.
Yes, sir.
Hello.
Yes, sir.
ଶୁଭୁଛି କି ରେ କଥା ଶୁଭୁଛି?
ଆଜ୍ଞା sir.
ଆଚ୍ଛା ହଉ। ଆଚ୍ଛା ମୁଁ ତ ଦିଟା କ୍ଲାସ୍ ଆଜି ଥାର୍ଡ କ୍ଲାସ୍ ଏଟା ଫାର୍ଷ୍ଟ କ୍ଲାସ୍ ରେ ତ କେହି ଆସିଲନି। କାଲି ମୁଁ ପଢେଇଥିଲି ତମକୁ ସେ ଯୋଉ ମାନେ କଜେସ୍ ଅଫ ଏମର୍ଜେନ୍ସି ଅଫ ଇଣ୍ଟରନ୍ୟାସନାଲ ଟ୍ରେଡ୍ ସେଇଥିରେ ମୁଁ ପଢେଇଥିଲି ଆବସୋଲ୍ୟୁଟ କଷ୍ଟ ଆଡଭାଣ୍ଟେଜ ଥିଓରି ଆଉ କମ୍ପାରେଟିଭ କଷ୍ଟ ଆଡଭାଣ୍ଟେଜ ଥିଓରି।
ସାର୍ ଆମକୁ ମେସେଜ ଆଜି ଆସିଲା।
ସେଟା କହିବ ତାହେଲେ ଯଦି କହିବେ ସେମାନେ ଆମେ ଆଉ ଥରେ ରିପିଟ୍ କରିବା ଆଉ କହିବ ତାହେଲେ ସେଣ୍ଟରରେ କହିବ।
ଆଜ୍ଞା।
ହେଲା ତାହେଲେ ମୁଁ ଆଜି ଗୋଟେ ନୂଆରୁ ଷ୍ଟାର୍ଟ କରିବି ତାହେଲେ।
Yes sir.
ଆଚ୍ଛା ହଉ। ଆଚ୍ଛା ଆଚ୍ଛା ମୁଁ ତାହେଲେ ତମର ଯୋଉ ଥାର୍ଡ ବ୍ଲକ ଯୋଉଟା ଅଛି ସେଥିରେ ଦେଖିଲ ଟିକେ କଣ କୋର୍ସ ଅଛି ସେଥିରେ? हेलो 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 हेलो
Yes sir.
हेलो हेलो
Yes sir.
सुबुची कि रे?
ଆଜ୍ଞା sir.
अच्छा तमरो थर्ड ब्लॉक रे कोन अछि? हेलो 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 हेलो
Hello.
हेलो
Hello, Nasid. Hello.
हेलो
Hello, Nasid. Ritanjali. Orchana.
ଆଜ୍ଞା sir. ଆଜ୍ଞା
Are
sir.
sir hello
अरे
hello
मो
କହୁଛନ୍ତି
कथा
nobody
सुबुची
can
कि?
response.
हेलो
ଆଜ୍ଞା sir.
अरे
Sir
मो
ପଢାନ୍ତୁ।
कथा माने कैन यू हियर मी?
Yes sir.
यस देन साइलेंट काय हो कहू ना कहीं? Do you know? I think your block three is balance of payments.
Yes sir.
Yes. Then do you know or have you any idea about balance of payments?
Oh.
Hello. What is balance of payments? Actually, balance of payments, it is a systematic record of all economic transactions of a country with the rest of the world
Yes.
during an accounting year or during a period. Usually, it is a period that means during a year, accounting year. So, balance of payments is nothing but a systematic record of all economic transactions. What happens actually in case of international trade? We import some commodities from other countries whenever we feel it necessary. That means if we feel scarcity of some commodities, or usually we are unable to produce some commodities. Hello, are you listening me?
Yes, sir.
Yes. If we feel necessity of some commodities, scarcity of some commodities, or if we are unable to produce some commodities within our country, then a country concerned go for import. Similarly, whenever we are producing surplus amount, we
Okay.
have to export those, or we have to sell those commodities to other countries. So in this way, export and import, it implies the purchase of goods from international market or from other countries of the world, or selling of goods to the international market or to other countries. These things take place every time. That means every year we take these transactions take place, and there has to be a systematic record of those transactions. This systematic record of those transactions is known as balance of payments. So balance of payments is nothing but a systematic record of all these economic transactions with the rest of the world. Balance of payments, ପିଲାମାନେ ଟିକେ ମଝିରେ ହଁ କି ନା ଗୋଟେ କଣ କହିବ, ତମେ ବସୁଛ ଚୁପଚାପ କି whether ମାନେ I am unable to know whether you are listening to me or not because of network problem. ତମେ ପଛପଟେ କାଇଁ ମ୍ୟୁଟ କରିକି ବସଛ, କହୁନା ହଁ କି ନା,
Yes, sir.
ଇଣ୍ଟରାକ୍ଟିଭ ହୁଅ ନହେଲେ ଜାଣି ହଉନି.
Okay, sir.
So so balance of payments, ତମ ପାଖରେ ବ୍ଲଗ ବହି ଅଛି, ବୁକ୍ସ ଅଛି?
Okay, sir.
ବୁକ୍ସ ରେ ଆଚ୍ଛା ବାଲାନ୍ସ ଅଫ ପେମେଣ୍ଟସ ର ତମ ଦେଖो, ବାଲାନ୍ସ ଅଫ ପେମେଣ୍ଟସ କୁ we can divide a balance of payments into two vertically. One is called your left hand side, other one is called right hand side.
Yes, sir.
ଦେଖଉଛି. Is this audible? Sri, can you see this diagram what I am drawing?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So this is a vertical line, you see, it is a
Yes,
vertical
sir.
line. It is the left side, also it is the right side. So left side is known as the credit side, and right side is known as
Debit, sir.
debit side. What is that? Means what are the items which will be listed on the credit side, and what are the items to be listed on the debit side? Do you know? ତମେ ଜାଣିଛ କି? Credit side is otherwise known as receipt side,
Yes, sir.
and debit side is otherwise known as payment
But
side. Payment side.
Yes.
That means what are the ways by which a country concerned receives foreign currency? Because whenever we are talking about international trade, your transaction will take place. Your transaction will take place in international currency, foreign currency. There is a difference between internal trade and international trade. In case of internal trade, buying and selling of goods take place under the domestic currency or by using the domestic currency. But in case of international trade, the same buying and selling will take place, but there will be use of foreign currency. Usually the currencies of advanced countries of the world are used in the transaction of goods and services, that means in export and import. Bujhi?
I guess, sir.
So on the credit side, what are the items which has to be listed? That means items are the same, but here which side the transaction takes place, that has to be taken into account. So here vertically we can divide a balance of payments into two. One is called credit side, other one is called debit side. And horizontally we can also divide a balance of payments. One is known as the current account,
Or capital account.
other one is called capital account. What are the items which are listed on the in the current account? ଜାଣିଛ? What are the items? What are the items which are listed in the current account, and what are the items which are listed in the capital account?
Sir, cash bank account.
कौन?
Cash in hand bank account.
The cash in hand no. Cash in hand no. Cash in hand छुआ no. Hello.
ଆଜ୍ଞା sir.
ଆମେ transaction record କରୁଛେ cash in hand କଥା କୋଉଠି ଉଠିଲା ଏଠି? First of all, ମୁଁ କହିଦେବି ଦେଖ. First of all, we have to write down the items. First one is called the transaction of goods, which is otherwise called goods account. Transaction of goods. Second one is transaction of services. Do you know the difference between goods and services? Hello.
Yes sir.
We know the meaning of these goods and services. Goods means visible transaction. That means the visible account is otherwise known as visible account, and services are called invisible account. I am explaining you. Suppose India will import petroleum product. India will import petroleum product from Gulf countries. Suppose from Iran.
Yes sir.
That means here the item is your service or goods.
Service.
No, it is an item. It is a commodity. It is a visible commodity. Whenever we will import petroleum products from Iran, suppose, then petroleum products will visibly enter into Indian territory.
Yes sir.
Similarly, if we export wheat to other countries, wheat will visibly leave our territory, Indian territory. So that is why this trade of goods is otherwise known as visible trade. So visibly, goods leave the territory of a country and enters into the territory of a country.
Yes.
Hello.
Yes sir.
Suppose during a particular year, you can talk of, because balance of payments is always calculated on the basis of a particular year, accounting year, obviously. So suppose what I will write, suppose these figures are in dollar terms, suppose the figures are in $1 million, you can say it is $1 million. Yes,
Yes sir.
it's $1 million. So suppose I will say 1,500. 1,500. Suppose 1,500 is the $1,500 million. India earns by exporting some commodities.
Yes.
Which are visible commodities. Similarly, suppose India spent $800 million on import of commodities. It may be petroleum products, it may be fertilizer. So whenever we are talking about exports, we are exporting, suppose we are exporting tea, we are exporting coffee, we are exporting ready-made garments, whatever may be, these are the visible goods. These goods are obviously different from services that, suppose, example of services, different types of services. There are different types of services. Example, suppose in the export of commodity, suppose India will import or India will export food grains or other products. While exporting these products, suppose Iran will import from us, India will export to Iran, means Iran will import from us. Suppose Iran will use Indian sheep, use some sheep of for the import of these food grains from our country to Iran. You understand?
ଆଜ୍ଞା
Hello?
ଆଜ୍ଞା yes sir
Suppose,
Yes, sir.
suppose Iran will use the sheep of, suppose, UAE, United Arab Emirates,
yes sir
to import food grains from us. So Iran has to make payment for the food grains it imported from us in terms of dollar.
ଆଜ୍ଞା
Similarly, also Iran has to make payment to United Arab Emirates for the use of the ships to transport these food grains from our country to Iran.
ଆଜ୍ଞା
So the payments to us for the use of this ship is known as the service transaction, or this is the service account, this is the service item. ବୁଝିପାରୁଛ ନା ବୁଝିପାରୁନ? So this is a example of the transportation. Similarly, whenever we are using, suppose I will hire a truck. ତମେ ଜାଣିଥିବ ମୁଁ ଟ୍ରକ୍ ଟେ ହାୟର କଲେ ଭଡା ଦଉଛୁ, ଗାଡିଟେ ହାୟର କଲେ ଭଡା ଦଉଛୁ, ସେଇ ଯୋଉ
ଆଜ୍ଞା
ଫେୟାର ଦଉଛ for the use of that vehicle, for the use of in the international market, suppose you will use a ship or you will use an aircraft, you have to make payment for that.
yes
These things will come under the services trade of services. There are many things many items which will come under these services. The example what I gave just now, that is the use of ship, which will come under transportation. There are also banking services, insurance services. That means banking and insurance. It may be receipts or it may be payments. Suppose India will receive banking receipts or insurance receipts. That means banking service will be provided to some country. Tourism service will be provided, or the tourist will purchase some goods and services from the foreign visitors. Do you understand or not?
yes sir
Yes, sir.
Hello.
Yes, sir.
ଆଚ୍ଛା ମୁଁ ତମେ ଟିକେ ମଝିରେ ଟିକେ ଇଣ୍ଟରାକ୍ଟିଭ ହଉନା, ମୁଁ ଶୁଣି ପାରୁନି ତମ କଥା।
ଆଜ୍ଞା ସାର୍ ନେଟୱାର୍କ ପ୍ରୋବ୍ଲେମ ଅଛି
ନେଟୱାର୍କ ପ୍ରୋବ୍ଲେମ ହଉଛି?
ଆଜ୍ଞା ସାର୍
ଏବେ ମୁଁ ଯାହା ପଢିଲେଣି ବୁଝିପାରୁଛ ନା ନାଇଁ?
ଆଜ୍ଞା ସାର୍
Yes, sir.
ଆଚ୍ଛା ହଉ, ସମସ୍ତେ କାହିଁ କହୁନ, ଅନ୍ୟମାନେ ତ ଅଛ କ୍ଲାସରେ। So the trade of goods, what I discussed so far, the trade of goods, that is called visible trade. Now what I am discussing, it is a trade of services. Hello.
yes sir
Suppose we can say that in case of goods, it is called visible items. That means you can talk of the commodities. You can
Yes.
talk of raw materials. You can talk of finished products. We are importing from other countries. We are exporting from other countries. So this is about the visible trade, or it is called goods account, or it is known as the goods transaction also. So by
Yes.
exporting the things or the amount of foreign currency what we will receive will be listed on the credit side. So export of goods will be listed on the credit side on the left hand side, and import of goods will be listed on the debit side, that is on the right hand side of the balance of payments.
Yes, sir.
Similarly, export of services will be listed on the credit side or on the receipt side of the balance of payments, that is the left side, and import of services will be listed on the debit side of the balance of payments. And under these services trade, you will have different transaction. You can have a capital services. The capital services, this is a peculiar term. It may be interest or profits or dividends or royalties received from foreign countries and paid to also foreign countries. This will be listed on the credit and debit side of the balance of payments under the services trade. You might have interest. Suppose we have borrowed capital, we have to make a payment for the use of the capital, which is known as interest. So interest payment, and the profits what we'll receive, or the dividends. Dividends means the distributed profits what the country concerned receives, or the royalty what the country concerned receives. If we will receive these items, it will be listed on the credit side. If these items will make payment to other countries, it will be listed on the
Debit.
Debit side.
ये कथा बुझी पड़ता समझते
Again, sir.
Again, sir.
usually what happens, there is an item which is known as the investment income. Investment income, that means it is known as the capital services. That means the receipts and payments arising out of what is called capital services. So capital services, that means you will receive, it will be listed on the credit side. If you make payment, it will be listed on the debit side. So this may be there may be favorable, there may be unfavorable. It may arise. That means you may have a favorable goods account, or you may not have a favorable goods account or favorable goods account. Similarly, you may have a favorable service account, or you may not have a favorable service account. You may have a unfavorable service account. That means if your credit side is more than the debit side, so far as the more than goods account is concerned, your credit side, if it is more than the debit side, then you have a surplus goods account. Or if debit side is more than the credit side, it is known as a deficit or unfavorable goods account.
Goods account.
Similarly, in case of services, if your credit side is more than the debit side, then you have a surplus or favorable. And if debit side is more than the credit side, you have a deficit or unfavorable
Goods account.
goods service account. Sorry.
Okay.
Yes, service account. I am talking about goods account and service account. And third item is unilateral transfer account. Unilateral transfer account. What items will come under this unilateral transfer account? What are the items will come under this unilateral transfer account? Hello.
No, sir.
So unilateral transfer account, actually, it consists of two types of actually transfer. These are the transfer. Unilateral transfer implies that it is a one-sided transaction. It is a one-sided transaction. That means if transaction takes place, suppose what happens in case of export of goods. If we export goods, then goods will leave the territory of our country.
Yes.
And money will come to our country, because it is a one-sided, both-sided transaction, bilateral transaction. Whenever we are purchasing commodities from shop or from the market, we are purchasing on the one hand, and we are making payment on the other hand. Because without making payment, nobody, no shopkeeper will give you the commodity. You have to make payment simultaneously. So the transaction is always bilateral. ତମେ ଗୋଟେ ପ୍ରଡକ୍ଟ କିଣିଲେ ମାର୍କେଟରେ ତମେ ପ୍ରଡକ୍ଟ ଆଣିବା ସହିତ ପଇସା ଦଉନ କି ରେ?
ଆଜ୍ଞା।
ପଇସା ଦେଲେ that becomes a bilateral. That means you are making payment on the one hand, on the other hand receiving the commodity. But
Yes.
here, in case of unilateral transfer, what happens? The transaction take place on the only on the one side. I will give you example here. Suppose, suppose your brother is staying in United States of America.
Okay.
बुझले कि?
Okay.
And if your brother will send some dollar to you or to your family,
Yes.
then this payment or this transaction involves no corresponding transaction.
Yes, sir.
If you will receive some dollar, that means ଆମ ଭାଇ ତମକୁ ମନେକର $1,000 ପଠେଇଲେ. So
ଆଜ୍ଞା।
$1,000 will be listed on the credit side of the balance of payment. Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Yes, credit side of the balance of payment. But my point is that this transaction involves no corresponding transaction on the debit side. Whenever a transaction takes place on the credit side, a corresponding transaction has to take place on the debit side.
Yes, sir.
Actually, what happens? Balance of payment has been constructed on the principle of a double entry bookkeeping system. That means every transaction has two entries. Every transaction has two entries. ତମେ କୋଉଠୁ ପଇସା ଆଣିବ? Suppose how much of money you will pay. ତମେ ଯଦି ଗୁଡ୍ସ କିଣିଲ ତାହେଲେ ତମକୁ ପେମେଣ୍ଟ କରିବାକୁ ପଡୁଛି ନା, ତେଣୁ ତମ ସେଠୁ ପଇସାରୁ ତମକୁ ସେଠିକି ଡେବିଟ୍ କରିବାକୁ ପଡିବ। ତମ
ଆଜ୍ଞା।
ପାଖରେ 1,000 ଟଙ୍କା ଅଛି, ତମେ 10 ଟଙ୍କା ଖର୍ଚ୍ଚ କରିଦେଲେ ତ ତମକୁ ଯଦି 10 ଟଙ୍କା ଖର୍ଚ୍ଚ କରିଦେଲେ ଡେବିଟ୍ କରିବାକୁ ପଡିବ। ଖର୍ଚ୍ଚ ଦେଖେଇଲେ ଯୋଉ କମୋଡିଟି ପାଇବା ସହିତ ତମକୁ ଏଠୁ ଡେବିଟ୍ କରିବାକୁ ପଡିବ ନା।
ଆଜ୍ଞା।
ତ ଏଠି ଯୋଉ ଡବଲ ଏଣ୍ଟ୍ରି ତମେ ଯୋଉ ଭାଇ ଯୋଉ ପଇସା ପଠେଇଲେ, your brother suppose sent you 1,000 rupees, $1,000, sorry, $1,000, and this dollar, the country concerned, suppose India will receive $1,000, it will be listed on the credit side of the balance of payment. But this transaction has no corresponding debit side transaction. ତମେ ଆଉ ତା ବଦଳରେ ମୋ ଭାଇଙ୍କ ପାଖକୁ କିଛି ଦବ କି?
ନା ସାର୍।
नहीं सर।
ଏହି ପ୍ରକାର transaction କୁ unilateral transfer transaction କୁହାଯାଏ। Unilateral transfer କୁହାଯାଏ। This is a transaction which is called unilateral transfer. एकपाक्षिक unilateral ମାନେ one sided transfer. Bilateral ଯୋଉଟା ମୁଁ କହୁଥିଲି ଦେଖିବାକୁ ଜିନିଷ କିଣିଲେ, it is a bilateral transaction. It involves the transaction from both sides. ତମେ payment କରୁଛ ଏବଂ you are getting the commodity. But in case of receiving money from your brother, ବୁଝିପାରୁଛ ସମସ୍ତେ? Hello?
Again
Yes,
sir।
sir.
So it is so what are the items which will be included under this? All the gifts, all the grants,
Yes.
all the reparations. War reparations, suppose some damage. So after the Second World War, Germany was held responsible for the Second World War. Suppose so Germany has to make payment to other countries for the losses suffered due to World War II. So the payment which will come from Germany to other countries, it will be treated as an what is it? Reparation receipts. It is a war reparation. That means the damages made in the war because of this particular country. If that country concerned will be held responsible for the war, or some payments to some foreign countries. Suppose a person is getting some salary or pension. Suppose pension, that means those people who were previously working under British government when India was under British rule, if they will receive their pension from British government, these things will also be listed on the unilateral transfer account. ବୁଝିପାରୁଛ ନା ବୁଝିପାରୁନ?
ଆଜ୍ଞା
Yes
ସାର୍।
sir।
So these items, so it is that means what I am saying. So here funds received from or remitted to a foreign country on person to person basis.
ଆଜ୍ଞା।
Okay.
ଆଜ୍ଞା।
Suppose I can give another example. Suppose a Malaysian settled in United States.
Okay.
Yes.
So, a Malaysian, suppose has settled in United States. This will be an hello.
Yes, sir.
अच्छा, सुबिला तो?
Again, sir.
So the flow which takes place only in one direction with no automatic reverse flow in the direction is known as unilateral transfer. So there is no repayment obligation attached to this type of transfers because they are not borrowing. Also, there is no lending, but gifts and grants exchange between government or the people of one country with the other country or one government with the other government. Do you
Okay.
understand?
Again.
So these are called. It may be private transfer. It may be also the government transfer. Suppose government gives some grant to other countries, aid to other countries. This will come under this unilateral transfer. So these all these three items will be listed on the current account of the balance of payments.
Yes.
But there is another account which is known as capital account. What is the difference between capital account and current account? Hello?
Again, sir.
Yes, sir.
What is the difference between capital account and current account?
सर कैपिटल अकाउंट इंटरनेशनल ट्रांजैक्शन को रिकॉर्ड करे.
अच्छा, अब current account का
कंट्री ट्रांजैक्शन.
current balance of payment transaction way.
Again, sir.
All the transactions are international transactions.
Again, sir.
बुझिपारुछ कि
Again.
all the transaction এটা তো balance of payment all economic transactions of the country. It says that it by hello.
Again, sir.
All economic transactions of a country with the rest of the world. तामाने गोटे देशर गोटे बाहर देश सहित जो ट्रांजैक्शन होଉଛି
Again.
Okay.
that transaction is known as international transaction and all these transactions are recorded. These are
Okay.
recorded in a systematic way which is known as balance of payments. जହାର दीटा साइड थाए गोटे क्रेडिट साइड थाए डेबिट साइड थाए मुझे कहउतली क्रेडिट साइड रे तमे इनकम अर्न करूछ डेबिट साइड रे तमे स्पेंडिंग किंतु करेंट अकाउंट और कैपिटल अकाउंट भीतर डिफरेंस कौन? That means current account means these transactions, the repercussions or the repercussions of these transactions on which side
ଆଜ୍ଞା
borrowing of capital will be listed either on the credit side or debit side. Hello,
ଆଜ୍ଞା ସାର୍
ତମେ ମନେକର ଇଣ୍ଡିଆ ଲୋନ୍ ଆଣିଲୁ, ମନେକର ଆମ କଣ୍ଟ୍ରି ଅଷ୍ଟ୍ରେଲିଆରୁ ଲୋନ୍ ଆଣିଲା
ଆଜ୍ଞା
ହେଲା,
ଆଜ୍ଞା
ଆଚ୍ଛା ଲୋନ୍ ଆଣିଲ, ତମେ ଏ ବର୍ଷ ଆଣିବ, ସେଟା କୋଉ ସାଇଡରେ ଏଣ୍ଟ୍ରି ହବ ଲୋନ୍ ଆଣିଲେ?
କ୍ରେଡିଟ୍ ସାଇଡ୍ରେ
obviously, କିନ୍ତୁ ପ୍ରତ୍ୟେକ ବର୍ଷ ତାକୁ ତମେ ଇଣ୍ଟରେଷ୍ଟ ଦେଇ ଚାଲିବ ଅଷ୍ଟ୍ରେଲିଆକୁ। ହ୍ୟାଲୋ,
ଆଜ୍ଞା
Okay.
ଆଜ୍ଞା
ଅଷ୍ଟ୍ରେଲିଆକୁ ଇଣ୍ଟରେଷ୍ଟ ଦେଇ ଚାଲିବ।
ଆଜ୍ଞା
That means here the point is that if a particular transaction which takes place during a particular year,
yes
but its impacts are felt on all subsequent years, it cannot be called a current account transaction. ତମେ ଯୋଉ ଟ୍ରାଞ୍ଜାକ୍ସନ ଟା ଏ ବର୍ଷ କରୁଛ ତାର ଯଦି ଫ୍ୟୁଚର ବର୍ଷ ମାନଙ୍କରେ ବା ବିଗତ ବର୍ଷର କାହାର ଗୋଟେ ଇମ୍ପାକ୍ଟ ଯୋଗୁଁ ସେ ଟ୍ରାଞ୍ଜାକ୍ସନ ହଉଛି, then that is not a current account transaction.
ସାର୍ ତାହେଲେ
ବୁଝିପାରୁଛ?
ଯଦି ଆମେ ସାର୍ ତାହେଲେ ଯଦି ଆମେ ଇଣ୍ଟରେଷ୍ଟ ଦବା ତାହେଲେ ସେଟା କରେଣ୍ଟ ଆକାଉଣ୍ଟ କହିବାନି।
ନାଇଁ ନାଇଁ ଶୁଣ, କରେଣ୍ଟ ମୋ କହିବା କଥା ଶୁଭୁଛ। ମୁଁ ମନେକର ମାର୍କେଟକୁ ଗଲି, ଗୋଟେ ଆଳୁ କେଜି ନେଇ ଆସିଲି, ନହେଲେ ଇଣ୍ଡିଆ
ଆଜ୍ଞା
Okay.
ବାହାର ଦେଶରୁ ହ୍ୱିଟ୍ ନେଇକି ପଳେଇ ଆସିଲା, ତ ସରିଗଲା କାମ। ମାନେ ଆମେ ହ୍ୱିଟ୍ ପରଚେସ୍ କଲୁ ଏବଂ ପେମେଣ୍ଟ କରିଦେଲୁ। So this transaction will be listed in the current account of the balance of payments. आर कैपिटल अकाउंट सहित कि संपर्क रहुनी, कहीं ना ये ट्रांजैक्शन टा ए वर्ष हैला, ए वर्ष रे तार पूरा लेन देन हे गला, आ फ्यूचर रे कोनसी ट्रांजैक्शन आरि पे होबन।
ଆଜ୍ଞା
किंतु तमे जदि ए वर्ष लोन करूछ, बोरो करूछ, फंड बोरो करूछ, ताले ए वर्ष सेना फंड बोरो कलो, किंतु फ्यूचर ईयर मानकर तमे इंटरेस्ट दे चलिबो बिकॉज ऑफ
yes
दिस ईयर बोरोइंग। Because of this year's borrowing, you have to make payment, you have to make interest payment to other countries every year
yes
till the repayment. ताने ए वर्षर ट्रांजैक्शन पाई फ्यूचर वर्ष गुडाक सब अफेक्टेड होउछन्ति, फ्यूचर वर्ष रे करेस्पोंडिंग ट्रांजैक्शन सब हेई चलिबो। तेनु जो ट्रांजैक्शन रो फ्यूचर ईयर से तो रिलेशनशिप अछि, तार इंपैक्ट पडुछि, सेटा को हम कहबा करेंट अकाउंट, द कैपिटल अकाउंट।
କ୍ୟାପିଟାଲ ଆକାଉଣ୍ଟ
बुझ परलो तो?
ଆଜ୍ଞା ସାର୍
जो गुडाक माने those transactions are confined to a particular accounting year, सेटा को से कहूछि करेंट। That means its impact will be confined to that particular financial year, तार बियॉन्ड को से आउ जीवन।
yes
किंतु ए वर्ष जो ट्रांजैक्शन होउछि, जदि आसंता वर्ष मानकरे तार इंपैक्ट हमें रियलाइज करिबा, इंटरेस्ट दे चलिबा, इंटरेस्ट दे चलिबा, ए इंटरेस्ट हमें सेही गलत जो मनकर मु कहबि 2015 रे हमें जो बोरोइंग करथिले, तो सेही पई पूरा इंटरेस्ट हमें दे चलछे ऑस्ट्रेलिया को।
ଆଜ୍ଞା
तामाने सेही 2015 रो ट्रांजैक्शन पई हमें जते मैच्योरिटी पर्यंत सेते पई हम दे चलिबु इंटरेस्ट दे चलिबु। एटा गोटे एग्जांपल बुझिया पई जे व्हाट आर द आइटम्स व्हिच विल बी लिस्टेड इन द कैपिटल अकाउंट एंड व्हाट आर द आइटम्स व्हिच विल बी लिस्टेड ऑन द करेंट अकाउंट। मु जो आइटम गुडा कहली गुड्स सर्विसेज बा यूनिलेटरल ट्रांसपोर्ट्स, एगुडा सब हमें एथरे आछि, बुझि तो?
ଆଜ୍ଞା
So what are the items which will come under? You may have this private investment, private direct investment, and that may be private portfolio investment. Direct investment बुझी परछो, and portfolio investment. Hello.
ଆଜ୍ଞା ସାର୍
Direct investment बुझी परछो, suppose there will be private direct investment in our country. Suppose some foreigners will directly come and invest in our country. This will be known as
ଆଜ୍ଞା
private direct investment.
Okay.
এটা বুঝি परछो समझते? हेलो, डायरेक्ट इन्वेस्टमेंट माने मनकर एठी जो हमर पोस्को
Okay.
हितंदा, ओडिसा रे पोस्को हितंदा, एरा गोटे फॉरेन डायरेक्ट इन्वेस्टमेंट हितंदा। पोस्को
ଆଜ୍ଞା
कंपनी आसी के हमर एठी ए जो कुजंग ई साइड रे इन्वेस्टमेंट हितंदा होला, लोको
ନା
करे कि हितंदा, दैट इज एन एग्जांपल ऑफ फॉरेन डायरेक्ट इन्वेस्टमेंट। बट इंस्टेड ऑफ इन्वेस्टिंग डायरेक्टली, some foreign companies or the foreign people, they are also investing in our stock markets। ଆମର stock market ରେ ମଧ୍ୟ ସେମାନେ investment କରୁଛନ୍ତି. They are investing in stocks, they are investing in our shares, bonds. So this type of investment is known as portfolio investment. କଣ କହନ୍ତି? Portfolio.
Portfolio.
So this type of this type of movement in and out is induced by the difference in the interest rate or the dividends or the rate of return on the capital between the home country's financial assets and that of the foreign country. এটা usually ହୁଏ ଆମ ଦେଶରେ ମନେକର ଯଦି ଅଧିକା ରେଟ୍ ଅଫ୍ ଇଣ୍ଟରେଷ୍ଟ ହେଇଯିବ then there will be foreign flow, foreigners ମାନେ ବା
Okay.
ତାଙ୍କର କମ୍ପାନୀ ମାନେ ସେମାନେ ସେ ଷ୍ଟକ୍ ମାର୍କେଟ ଆମ ଷ୍ଟକ୍ ମାର୍କେଟକୁ ପଳେଇ ଆସିବେ ଆମର ଯଦି ରେଟ୍ ଅଫ୍ ଇଣ୍ଟରେଷ୍ଟ ଅଧିକା ହେଇଗଲା ତ ସେମାନେ ସେଠିକି ପଳେଇବେ. This moment, this ins and
Okay.
out, it take place. So this is known as this private portfolio investment. Suppose both the things here. Suppose Indian firms will invest in foreign country. Indian firms, suppose
Okay.
Reliance Industries, Tata Industries, Adani Industries, they will invest in foreign countries. Suppose they will invest in Sri Lanka, they will invest in Bangladesh. Then this type of investment will be recorded in the capital account under the head of this private direct investment, but it will be listed on the debit side of the balance of payment because foreign currencies go out of our country. Similarly, if
Okay, sir.
foreign firms, they will come to our country to invest in our country, then there is inflow of foreign fund to our country, it will be listed on the credit side of the balance of payments. Similarly, stock market investment. Whenever foreign fund comes to our stock market in the form of these stocks, shares, and bonds, it will be listed on the credit side of the balance of payments. And if it goes out, then it will be listed on the debit side of the. Apart from this, there are also government loans. Government may also borrow from foreign financial institutions, from foreign governments. Similarly, government can also lend to foreign government. Suppose Indian government will lend to Bangladesh government or to Nepal or Bhutan.
Okay, sir.
There are foreign countries here, the foreign currencies will go out of our country and it will be listed on the debit side of the balance of payments. If other countries, the advanced countries, they will come to our country for investment purposes, here the foreign currency will come to our country, here it will be listed on the credit side of the balance of payments. You understand or not?
Yes, sir.
Apart from this, there is another
Yes,
item
sir.
which is known as errors and omissions. There are some errors and omissions which will also be listed in the balance of payments. So here, the very purpose of this discussion is that balance of payments always balances. When the question comes, it is balance of payments. What does it mean? It means that balance of payments always balances. Always balances implies that means the credit side will always be equal to debit side.
Yes, sir.
Credit side will always be equal to debit side. So how it is equalized? Because it is prepared in such a way that credit side will always be equal to debit side.
Yes, sir.
It is prepared in such a way that because I told you earlier that balance of payments is prepared on the basis of this double entry bookkeeping system. Hello, double entry bookkeeping system. So on the basis of this, your credit side will be equal to debit side. So, double entry bookkeeping system.
Yes.
Suppose I will give you an hypothetical example. Suppose your balance of payments always balances. Then can I say that? Hello. Then can I say that balance of payments is always in equilibrium? That means there is no deficit or surplus in the balance of payments because debit side will always be equal to credit side. No, this is
No,
not the
sir.
this is not the case. That means I can show you. You can see here. I can give show you one balance of payments here. You see. So see here the goods account is. Can you see? Is it visible
No,
to all?
sir.
Is it visible to all?
Yes, sir.
No,
So
sir.
there is one goods account. Is it, you see now I am fixing it. Is it visible to all? It's goods account 1,500 on the credit side and debit side by 800. Service account it is 500 and, on the credit side and 1,400 on the debit side. Unilateral transfer account it is 100 on the credit side and 120 on the debit side. Then in the capital account, long-term capital account, it is a 900 on the credit side and 400 on the debit side. But there is errors and omissions. There is one account which is known as errors and omissions and including your short-term capital account. Suppose it is 500 on the credit side and 400 on the debit side. And there is another account, I will mention subsequently, it is international liquidity account. Suppose international liquidity account is 150 here. It takes place on the debit side. You mark the here. This is the point. This is the point. That means if you will deduct this international liquidity account, so do you follow me? ବୁଝି ପାରୁଛ ନା ଶୁଣି ପାରୁଛ ବୁଝି ପାରୁଛ?
Okay, sir.
ଏଇଟା ଯଦି ଇଣ୍ଟରନ୍ୟାସନାଲ ଲିକ୍ୱିଡ ଆକାଉଣ୍ଟ କୁ ତମେ ଯଦି ଓମିଟ କରିଦବ ତମେ ଦେଖ
ଆଜ୍ଞା।
ଏଗୁଡା ଆଡ୍ କରିକି ଦେଖ left side is 3,500 but right side that is debit side is not 3,500 it is 150 less than the 3,000 तमने एटी 150 less होउची
Okay.
ये बैलेंस ऑफ पेमेंट्स रे कोन हेची क्रेडिट साइड रे गोटे कंट्री कंसर्न ये $3,500 मिलियन से अर्न करची गोटे फाइनेंशियल ईयर
Okay.
फाइनेंशियल ईयर रे से केते पेमेंट करची $3,350 मिलियन तामाने $150 मिलियन तार शॉर्ट पड़िची
Okay.
ना बुझी परना माने बुझी परतो द डेबिट साइड ता शॉर्ट होची अरे डेबिट साइड ता शॉर्ट है क्रेडिट साइड ता जदी अधिका हबो एटा को प्रकार बैलेंस ऑफ पेमेंट्स वे
Sir, deficit.
सरप्लस ना योर क्रेडिट
Okay, sir.
क्रेडिट
Credit अधिक.
500 किंतु मु तुमको कहली इंटरनेशनल लिक्विड अकाउंट को आपातत वर्तमान भूली जा तले केते हबो 150 लेस हबो
Okay.
3,500 रु तुम यदि 150 माइनस कर दबो केते हबो 350 हबो $3,350 मिलियन
Okay.
ताले से कंट्री कंसर्न रे जेतिक से खर्च करजी अधिका रोजगार करजी केते 150 ए 150 जुला एटा को तमे कोन करिवो इट विल गो आउट ऑफ आवर कंट्री इन द फॉर्म ऑफ इन्वेस्टमेंट और इन द फॉर्म ऑफ सेविंग्स तमर को इंटरनेशनल फाइनेंशियल इंस्टीट्यूशन रे ताकू तमे त कोटी सेविंग करि पारो बा का को कंट्री को तमे लेंडिंग करि पारो तमर जंदी पैसा अधिकार होइले तमे कि बैंक रे डिपॉजिट करछो
हाँ.
जंदी कंट्री रे मन को पैसा सरप्लस हेले से मन को फाइनेंशियल इंस्टीट्यूशन रे की दे पारे का को लेंडिंग करि पारे जहां हेले भी that money will go out of our country it will be listed on the debit side
Debit side.
बुझ परलो तो
Okay,
so
sir.
even though this balance of payments it appear to be balanced but actually it is not balanced rather it is a surplus balance of payment
Yes.
एटी तुमको आ गुटे कथा बुझेले हबो here
Okay.
the transactions can be of two types हमर बहिर अछि कि नहीं ये एक्चुअली हमर कॉलेज रे पिला को पढ़ा जाए transaction is two types one is called autonomous transaction other one is called accommodating transaction one is called autonomous transaction other one is called accommodating transaction autonomous transaction is that transaction which takes place irrespective of the position of the balance of payments irrespective of the requirement of the balance of payments यदि balance of payments रो कोनोसी requirement नहीं आउ आमे हमरो मन इच्छा हमर दरकार हला आमे ट्रांजैक्शन करू देन दैट इज कॉल्ड नोन एज ऑटोनोमस ट्रांजैक्शन तमे हमर हम पेट्रोलियम प्रोडक्ट्स आनिबो ये आनिबो से आनिबो एगुडा सब ऑटोनोमस ट्रांजैक्शन किंतु ये
Okay.
इंटरनेशनल लिक्विड अकाउंट जोडा लिखा है 150 एटा कोन पई इट इज एन अकोमोडेटिंग ट्रांजैक्शन हमर ये ट्रांजैक्शन करिवार कि नेसेसिटी नथिला हम कंट्री पई
No.
सरप्लस हला क्रेडिट साइड रे सरप्लस हला सेटा को नहीं कि बाहर कोडी इन्वेस्टमेंट कराला नल कोडी सेविंग्स कराला so that became an accommodating transaction accommodating बुझी परछि हेलो हेलो
ଆଜ୍ଞା ସାର୍
accommodating टर्म बुझी परछो
ନାଇଁ ସାର୍ ଏକ୍ସପ୍ଲେନ୍ କରିବେ
या accommodate करिवा माने को मनकर मो घर जने गेस्ट आसले मु ताको accommodate करी मो पाखरे पैसा अछि मु ताको माने मु से मो पैसाटा मोर बळकार होची बा मो पैसा आ गुटे एग्जांपल देले हबो मनकर जो डेफिसिट हबो रिवर्स करी मनकर ए एग्जांपल छाड़ देले मु आ गुटे एग्जांपल लेबी जोटी कि डेफिसिट अछि ए एग्जांपल देखो ए एग्जांपल एटा डेफिसिट अछि एटी सिमती देइची एका देइची क्रेडिट साइड डेबिट साइड तमे देखो एटी क्रेडिट साइड रे अछि 150 उडे ऐड हेची देखो इंटरनेशनल लिक्विडिटी अकाउंट सेटा को मतलब माइनस कर दियो ताले एटी सिमती से हबो इट इज $3,350 मिलियन हबो क्रेडिट साइड रे डेबिट साइड रे किंतु 3,500 अछि
ଆଜ୍ଞା
तामाने गुटे कंट्री पाखरे $3,350 मिलियन अछि किंतु से $3,500 रो परचेस करिवार नेसेसिटी रहउची गुटे फाइनेंशियल ईयर ताले से बाकी पैसा कोट आनिबो ताकू कोठी बोरो करिया पड़ियो कंट्री कंसर्न हैज टू बोरो फ्रॉम other foreign countries or foreign financial institution has to borrow
ଆଜ୍ଞା
otherwise this 150 transaction cannot take place so if borrowing will take place then it will be listed on the credit side that means this borrowing is an accommodating transaction
ଆଜ୍ଞା
otherwise there was no necessity of this transaction mo pakare se transaction karibar kisi necessity नथिला गोटे कंट्री पाखरे केवल मते डेफिसिट हला बोली the country went for this transaction so this is known
Okay.
as accommodating transaction others are autonomous transaction you बुझिउस तो
ଆଜ୍ଞା ସାର୍
so my point is that if accommodating transaction or what we are talking it is international liquidity account if it takes place on the credit side then this is known as a deficit balance of payments if this transaction takes place on the debit side then it is known as a surplus balance of payments
ଆଜ୍ଞା
ଏବେ ବୁଝିପାରିଲ
ଆଜ୍ଞା ସାର୍
ବୁଝିଗଲା ତ so balance of payments always balances in the accounting sense but in reality they are not in equilibrium so balance of payments balances does not imply that they are in equilibrium balance of payments is always balance of payments will always balance that means balance is left hand side will be equal to the right hand side
ଆଜ୍ଞା
accounting sense रे एटी भी देखाई देखो 3,500 एटी भी 3,500 so balance of payments always balances in accounting sense still balance of payments can be deficit can also be surplus आ गोटे कथा कहया को भूली गली ए जो errors and omissions
ଆଜ୍ଞା
what are errors and omissions what are the items which will be listed on these errors and omissions errors and omissions means these are called unrecorded transactions these are called unrecorded transaction this transaction may be in the form of a statistical or recording error there may be some recording error there may be there may be smuggling there may be
Okay.
illegal or secret capital movements or there may be imperfect estimation of procedure these are the possibilities of errors and omissions
ଆଜ୍ଞା
because of these errors and omissions also there will be discrepancy between this debit side and credit side in accounting sense so if this discrepancy occurs what happens these are the shortfall is mentioned in this error and omission account so in case of these errors otherwise balance of payments will always balance otherwise 3,500 will be exactly equal to 3,500 if there will be some discrepancy it may be due to this smuggling or recording error or some illegal or secret capital movements and like this so this is about this balance of payments and there is another term which is known as balance of trade sometimes a question comes difference between balance of payments and balance of trade balance of trade means this is called the sum of these export of exports, then visible trade and invisible trade. These two, the trade of these two items is known as balance of trade. तामाने हमें खाली export of goods and services ये दीटा को जदि हिसाब को नबा ताले ताको हमें
Okay.
कहबा balance of trade. किंतु हमें जदि सब जाक आइटम को हिसाब को नबा both current account and capital account, this will be known as
Balance of payment.
so balance of payments is a broad concept. It includes balance of trade. It's a wider
Okay.
concept. So balance of payments include balance of trade, but balance of trade is a very narrow concept. It includes only the trade of goods and services. बुझिला तो
ଆଜ୍ଞା ସାର୍
अच्छा ମୁଁ ତମକୁ autonomous transaction ଆଉ accommodating transaction ଆକୁ ବି କହିଲି ବୁଝି ପାରଲ
ଆଜ୍ଞା
then there are also other things ତମ ଆ ଭିତରେ ଆଉ ଗୋଟେ କଣ ଅଛି ଦେଖିବ there are some measures that means if there will be some discrepancies if there will be surplus or there will be deficit then how these deficits are neutralized or how to overcome this deficit. There are certain various measures. There are surplus balance, that means surplus and deficit. Both are called disequilibrium situation. If there will be disequilibrium in the balance of payments, then either it may be surplus balance of payments or there is a deficit in the balance of payments. So surplus and deficit both are the same so far as this disequilibrium part is concerned. But deficits usually pose a more serious threat. It is rather it is more a difficult challenge than balance of payments, surplus balance of payments. So whenever we are talking about surplus, it is not challenging. That rather whenever we are talking about the deficit balance of payments, rather it is challenging because a country concerned is to borrow from international market.
Right.
How to borrow? There will be how there will be adjustment. There are some measures are there. So one measure that means one measure is known as settlement balance of payment settlement. Other one is known as balance of payment adjustment. Suppose we have a deficit in the balance of payments or in the current account suppose and your capital account. Hello.
ଆଜ୍ଞା ସାର୍
Suppose we have a deficit in the current and also the capital account suppose.
ଆଜ୍ଞା
Okay.
Then we can settle this deficit.
ଆଜ୍ଞା
Right? We can settle this deficit in the autonomous transaction. That means obviously this autonomous transaction there is a difference or there is a deficit and this deficit in the autonomous transaction has to be settled by accommodating payments.
ଆଜ୍ଞା
ବୁଝିପାରୁଛ କି?
I guess.
So that means if you made some accommodating transactions here in case of suppose in case of surplus you have to make payments and in case of deficit we have to borrow. So as to what will happen, the balance of payments in the accounting sense will be equilibrium. But there is we can say that there will be accommodating transaction. There will be some adjustment here, so to say. Then what will happen? A settlement will be done here. Sorry, it is not adjustment here. What I am saying, I am talking about the difference between settlement, BOP settlement and BOP adjustment.
ଆଜ୍ଞା
So
Okay.
in case of BOP settlement, if you have a suppose deficit balance of payments, so this deficit has to be settled. And how can we settle this deficit? We have to make an accommodating transaction. ଆମେ ଯେମିତି କରୁଥିଲେ ଏ ଯୋଉ ଆମେ କହିଲେନି ତମକୁ accommodating transaction ବୁଝିପାରିଲ ତ?
I guess, sir.
ମୁଁ ଯୋଉ ତମକୁ କହିଲି ସେ ଯୋଉ balance of payments ରେ ଯୋଉ balance of payments ମୁଁ ଯୋଉ example ଦେଇଥିଲି ହେଲା କି international liquidity account ଗୋଟେ କହିଥିଲି. International liquidity account ଟାକୁ if this account on the credit side, then obviously it is an accommodating transaction. And if this accommodating transaction will take place, then there will be a BOP settlement. Balance of payment gets settled because of this transaction. Okay. So in this
Again,
case,
sir.
there is a temporary overcome of this BOP problem. That means by borrowing funds from other countries, we can temporarily accommodate. We can have a temporary settlement in the balance of payments. Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
But what is the meaning of a BOP adjustment? What is the meaning? Suppose I can say, suppose a fire has been extinguished, but the house is still not reconstructed. So you can extinguish the fire by
Yes.
having a settlement. पानी पानी डाली कि तमे नियाटा को लिबे दे पार.
Again.
Yes.
किंतु तमे ताको सेटलमेंट कर दे पार. किंतु एडजस्टमेंट केते हबो? एडजस्टमेंट जेतु तमे रिकंस्ट्रक्ट कर दो. घरटा को तयारी
Okay.
कर दो.
ଆଜ୍ଞା
Okay. ताମାନେ हम कोन करबा? That means we control the deficit by controlling the forces which are causing the deficit.
Again.
Then we have undertaken that means it is known as BOP adjustment. That means if there will be a that means if there will be shortage or there will be surplus deficit in the balance of payments, you can go for some borrowing from other countries or from international markets. You can borrow funds and temporarily your balance of payments will be settled. So this is known as balance of payment settlement. This is a temporary aspect. That means temporarily we have extinguished the fire.
Again,
Okay.
sir.
But due to the fire, the house has severe damage has been made to the house, and the house needs reconstruction. So it is not we are not reconstructing the house, rather we are simply extinguish the fire.
Again.
But the cause is that means of how this fire is taking place, what are the cause of the fire, if we go to that root cause, then no fire can take place. So there will be a permanent settlement. That means if we are talking about it is called adjustment. बुझी पारछो ना बुझी पारनो?
Again, sir.
So this is about this balance of payments analysis. What is the topic about? What is the meaning of balance of payments? The different concepts and definition of balance of payments. କିଛି ପଚାରିବ କି ଆଉ?
No, sir.
ତମ ପିଲାମାନେ ମତେ ଟିକେ କଥା ହବ ଟି ଆଉଟସାଇଡ୍ ରେ ମତେ ଟିକେ କଥା ହବ ଟି ମତେ ସେଇ ଯୋଉ ମ୍ୟାଟେରିଆଲ୍ସ ନାହିଁ ମୁଁ ଟିକେ ମ୍ୟାଟେରିଆଲ୍ସ ଦେଖିଥାନ୍ତି ତମ
ଆଜ୍ଞା ସାର୍
ମୋ ନମ୍ବରଟାରେ କଲ୍ କରିବ ନହେଲେ ମତେ ଟିକେ କଲ୍ କରିବ ତମ ପାଖରେ ସେ ବହି ଥିବ ମତେ ଟିକେ ସ୍କାନ୍ କରିକି ନହେଲେ ପଠେଇଦେଲେ ହନ୍ତା ଯେ WhatsApp ରେ ମୁଁ
ହଁ
ପାଇଯାନ୍ତି।
ସାର୍ ବହି ଆସିଯାଇଛି ଆମର।
ସେଟାକୁ ତମେ ସେ ମୋବାଇଲରେ ସ୍କାନ୍ କରିକି ପଠେଇଦେଲେ ବି ମୁଁ ପାଇଯାନ୍ତି। ମୁଁ ଗୋଟେ ଜାଣିଛନ୍ତି ଆକ୍ଚୁଆଲି କଣ ପଢାପଢି ଆମକୁ ସେ ମୁଁ ଯାଇଥିଲି କାଲି ତ ସେ ମିଳିଲାନି ଡିପାର୍ଟମେଣ୍ଟରୁ ଆମର ଯୋଉ ଅଫିସରୁ ମିଳିପାରିଲାନି ଦେଖିବି ଏଟଲିଷ୍ଟ କୋର୍ସେସ୍ ଗୁଡା କଣ ଅଛି
ସାର୍ ଇଗ୍ନୋ ଇ କଣ୍ଟେଣ୍ଟରେ ମିଳିଯାଉଛି
ସେଇଟା ମତେ ଟିକେ ଡିଫିକଲ୍ଟ ହଉଛି ଯଦି ଅଛି ତମ ପାଖରେ ସ୍କାନ୍ କରିକି ପଠେଇ ପାରିବ ତାହେଲେ ଭଲ ହୁଅନ୍ତା। ଅସୁବିଧା ହବ
ସାର୍ ଇଗ୍ନୋ ଇ କଣ୍ଟେଣ୍ଟରେ ବୁକ୍ସ ମିଳୁଛି
କୋଉଠି
ଇଗ୍ନୋ ଇ କଣ୍ଟେଣ୍ଟରେ
ନେଟ୍
ଆପ୍ସରେ
ସର୍ଚ୍ଚ କରିକି ଯାଇକି ଓଇ ଆପ୍ସ ସେଥିରେ କଣ ମିଳିପାରିବ ମୁଁ ଆଣିପାରିବି ସେଥିରୁ
ଆଜ୍ଞା ସାର୍
ଇ
ଆପ୍ସରୁ
ଇ
ଇଗ୍ନୋ ଇ କଣ୍ଟେଣ୍ଟ
ଇ କଣ୍ଟେଣ୍ଟ CONTENT
TENT ଆଜ୍ଞା ସାର୍ ପ୍ଲେ ଷ୍ଟୋରରୁ ଡାଉନଲୋଡ୍ କରିକି
ହଁ କଲେ ମିଳିଯିବ ସବୁ ଯାକ ମିଳିଯିବ
ଆଜ୍ଞା ସାର୍
ଆଚ୍ଛା ହଉ ହଉ ଦେଖିବା ଯଦି ନ ମିଳେ ପୁଣି ନେକ୍ସଟ କ୍ଲାସ୍ ପର୍ଯ୍ୟନ୍ତ ଅପେକ୍ଷା କରିବାକୁ ପଡିବ ତମର କାହା ଗୋଟେ ନମ୍ବର ଦଉଥାଅ ନା କିଏ ଦେଇପାରିବ ନମ୍ବର ଗୋଟେ ମତେ ଦିଅ
ସାର୍ ଆପଣ ନମ୍ବର ଦିଅନ୍ତୁ ମୁଁ କଲ୍ କରିଦେବି ଏବେ
ଆଚ୍ଛା ଦେଖ 934816
934816
2727
2727 ଆଜ୍ଞା
ମତେ ମିଳିଲାନି ମୁଁ ଜାଣିବି କେମିତି ମୁଁ ଯଦି ନ ପାଇଲି ମତେ ଯୋଗାଯୋଗ କରିବି ତାହେଲେ ହେଲା
ଆଜ୍ଞା ସାର୍
ରଖୁଛି ତାହେଲେ
ଆଜ୍ଞା
ଆଜ୍ଞା।
ସମସ୍ତଙ୍କର ରୋଲ ନମ୍ବର ଟା ଟିକେ ସେୟାର କରତେ କହିଥିଲି।
ପିଲାମାନେ हेलो
ଆଜ୍ଞା
ଆଜ୍ଞା ସାର୍
ମୋ ରୋଲ ନମ୍ବର ସବୁ ସେୟାର କର
ସାର୍ ସାର୍ ମେସେଜରେ
ହଁ ମେସେଜ
ହଁ?
ବକ୍ସ ମେସେଜ ଦେଇଛି ଦେଖିଦବ ସବୁ ସେ ମେସେଜ ବକ୍ସରେ ଦେଇଦବ।
ସାର୍ ମେସେଜ ବକ୍ସ
ସାଇଡରେ 3 ଡଟ୍ ରାଇଟ୍ ସାଇଡ୍
ମେସେଜ ମେସେଜ ବକ୍ସ फाइव सेवन फोर डबल जीरो
1957
फोर डबल थ्री जीरो
नासिद अफरीन
हाँ लिख नहीं नंबर रहता है
ସାର୍ କୋଉଠି ହେଇଯାଆନ୍ତୁ ସରିଲାଣି ଆଉ।